Right, welcome to this research journey space, or you could say it's a channel. However, it's a research journey space where we could share, my experiences, and you can also share your own experiences as well on the comments. So this space or channel will mainly be dedicated towards all those that are going into, your academic research journey. And I know this journey is quite a lonely journey, especially when you are in postgrad. However, whatever is in this channel is also for undergraduate, because from first year you need to be able to know how to conduct yourself, because when you want to further your studies, you should be able to do certain research tasks, mainly like your referencing and stuff. So just as an introduction, I'm Atandile Ngubelanga, and this is my research journey space. So I'll also be sharing a bit in the next coming episodes in terms of my current research journey, which is going towards a DCom or Doctor of Commerce degree, which is you would say PhD as well, or doctorate. Doctorate is kind of like, if you are in South Africa, NQF level 10, which is the pinnacle, or in terms of the NQF structure, so whichever country you're in, so that's the last degree. And then when you're going into other avenues like professorship, that's like based on research. However, that's all in terms of who I am, and in later episodes we'll get to see, because research is also, it's not just about looking at papers and writing and referencing. It's also a lifestyle that you need to accept, that is different, because everything is different, everyone is different, and so are certain careers or purposes. So in most cases, also in my case, you could be having a full-time job, but also into research, because you want to further your studies, your knowledge, and also mainly in research to also generate new knowledge from doing research and discovering new things, whichever field you're in. So the field that I'm in is the field of marketing, but mainly the research focus area is within consumer behavior as well as digital technologies. So nowadays, also my doctorate title is looking at artificial intelligence, which is AI, and the impact that it's having in our world. I mean, that's where the world is and where we are all going. So so for this initial video today, we're going to actually be looking, so this channel won't only just be about me talking, but I want to, what I say is my quotation is that I'm more of a motivational doer than a motivational speaker. So in most cases you won't be seeing me talking, so this is me like introducing, talking to you directly, which I would be as well in other episodes. However, we'd also focus on what you need in order to succeed. Like I've done a master's degree, and now I'm pursuing doctorate degree. I'm taking you guys on that journey as well, what it takes in terms of the hours while you're working. What do you need to do? Are you a person that works at night, or are you a person that works in the morning? But you need to find a balance in terms of the allocated time that you have. And yes, if you are working, or in South Africa we would say 9 to 5, you then need to find time outside of that, because we need to survive. But if this is your purpose and you have an ultimate goal which is linked to your postgrad studies, then you need to then adapt to different lifestyles. So it's not a duty, it's a lifestyle, it's how you live. So what I'll be doing, I won't be preaching, but actually just taking you guys through what is working for me, my trial and errors, what I'm currently doing, and report back in terms of successes. And so for this episode, I won't really be focusing on the PhD study, However, it's related, so it also has to do with academic referencing, which is a key part. So a key part in research from first year, academic referencing. So I'm involved in writing an academic article, so using my master's results and statistics with colleagues in Romania. So there's an article that I'm working on, and so currently I'm at a I know that I've started this while I was towards the end. So an article is similar, it's like a mini thesis, but we'll look at other stuff in other episodes in terms of the structures of theses, structures of articles. So we'll go into depth in terms of tools to use and different stuff. So this is just like setting the scene, and mostly what this space will be about. So hopefully it will also assist you in whatever you have, and see, because we all have different ways, but it's great to see what others are doing. So it would be nice to also see or hear what you're doing in terms of, because nothing is wrong, especially postgrad, because it's like this lonely road. You then need to connect, you need to see what others are doing, you need to attend certain engagement sessions, whether at your own university or wherever you are. So yeah, basically this will be the main focus of this space. So yeah, so what today we'll be going into is actually referencing and finding DOI links. So DOI links is actually direct links. So direct links for every academic article, they are direct links. So for example, if you have as you can see over here, we have a reference list. This is actually the academic article, but this is my reference list where I need to find the DOI. So this is what a DOI link is. So on this DOI link, when you click on this link, it actually takes you directly to the article. So whoever is reading your own reference list will be able to click on this, and then they find this specific article. So for example, if I click here, it's then going to open a page. So this page is then taking us directly to that article. So that's what the DOI is all about. So guys, I think mostly what I say also to students, I'm going to show you tools, including AI tools. However, I always say, don't let AI write for you. You must still be creative. You still need the art, although in this fast-moving technological environment that we're in, a world where AI is like doing fantastic stuff. It's great. It's great to be creative. I would say it's great to create or be creative, like the artsy side. But however, in terms of research writing, doesn't only have to be research, but also probably even if you're in high school or like any school where you need to think and write, because that's a skill that no one can teach. So if you literally just tell AI to write, I mean, universities now and everywhere there are tools that detect AI and people get penalized. So hence even the things that I'll be showing you are helping in this world whereby people quickly jump into AI and if you did not do certain things before AI was there, I wouldn't say I'm fault to you, but they are there in terms of you are guided in your universities how to do certain things. So, and there are things that you can do. So you can use AI to be your research assistant, help you to find sources, help you to, summarize long text. But when you write, you really have to use your own words and your own brain in terms of writing and putting an argument forward based on your research. So yeah, so that's what we're going to be looking at today on this episode. So yeah, you might be wondering why I know it's quite late, why I'm wearing a jacket, but where I am currently, the weather, it's not quite great. It's raining, So yeah, let's jump into it. So what do you actually need? What do you actually need? You might be someone who just, finished the undergrad, and now you are moving into, postgraduate studies, and you'll have to do maybe a mini thesis, which heavily is reliant on, even in like undergrad, like when you're doing assignments, you have to reference. So yeah, what we first going to talk about is, the setup. What is the setup? And also, guys, it's quite, early, as you can see. The lighting, I'm not gonna act like, we're in this wonderful world where it's like in the studio. So this is reality. Early in the morning, doing this before, even the birds are awake. So yeah, basically, let's jump straight into it. So let's start with setup. So setup, what do you need? So first things first, in terms of setup, you need a workspace. You need a workspace that works for you. So whether, depending if you're a full-time student, you can go on campus. You can either use your own residence, or so your hostel, or a commune, wherever you live. If you have a nice workspace, a comfortable one for you, you could then use that. If you're working, if in your house you have an extra room or an office where you have a setup, or you have a nice, comfortable place wherever in your house. It could be on top of your bed while sitting. It could be, corner of a lounge. It could be in the middle of, a kitchen as well as a lounge. It could be a corner in your kitchen where, it's quite cozy, or it helps you to focus, because focus is also one of the things that are, essential in terms of achieving, results in research. And research, I think once you reach postgrad, undergrad, you are drilled in terms of your intelligence, in terms of memorizing, recall. Now it's really about, discipline, critical thinking, argument forward, using, knowledge that has been there before, and crafting your own narrative and creating new knowledge. So creativity is also there, but we need to use, the academic way in terms of creativity and all the relevant sources. So yeah, so we need a workspace. What else we need? We need computer or a laptop. You could go to a lab, or you could have your own laptop, workspace, or bonus if you have a second screen in terms of your workspace. You can use your second screen in order to view another perspective, or like multitask, if you might say. On another screen you'll be typing, and then another screen you are searching for articles. So there's various tools that you need to use. So we're going to discover those. It's not just, as I've been saying, about intelligence of like writing. You need to be digitally savvy as well. You need to know how to use the laptop, the internet, which is another important thing that you need. Internet connection. You need to find relevant tools online that are going to assist you as well. There's also tools for kind of like language editing, like Grammarly, which you can see here. Not that anything is sponsored, but yeah, basically this is Grammarly, which will help you as well. So if I click here, this is Grammarly, not the pro version, but it does the job for maybe looking at grammar and correctness, but it depends how in depth. So also, guys, you need to be aware that tools like Grammarly, Quillbot, when you paraphrase like sentences, it will be picked up as AI because it's generated by computer. So you need to use these tools as well wisely. You can't just copy and paste. Back in the day, or even now, there's certain tools like SaferSign, Turnitin, and certain tools to detect plagiarism. But now there's like AI as well, where you think, okay, I'm paraphrasing, so I'm getting a better mark or a better score in terms of my paraphrasing. Or if you put it on a paraphrase tool, it will say, okay, you don't have any you pass the paraphrase. But however, when you put in an AI tool, then it detects AI because it's been generated by a system. So AI is all about a system. It's systems. It's computers. It's not just in the sky like aliens. So these tools do pick it up. So we need to use them wisely, and we will see, as I've been saying, for Grammarly, it's good for, Word. So Word is the one that I'm using. It's also good for editing. If you click on this is Word. Word are very powerful. Microsoft, very powerful, guys. Very powerful for doing many things. You can check your grammar, you can check your spelling, you can check punctuation, you can look at many things. So you can even stick to Word. So hence I just like to also have like Grammarly, just to see, different perspective, and also remember your language. So here I've set my language to English, South Africa. So that's where I am. Depends where your university is. You could be in the UK, in the US, where you're using US, and then it will pick it up. You can see here on this. However, this is a reference list. It says behavior, which is, the UK, the US. However, my Grammarly, because it knows that I'm set to South Africa, it's giving me the UK spelling. However, I'm going to ignore that because it's a name of a journal. It's a name of a journal article, so I don't need to. It's not within the text that I've written. So yeah, but for the text, I would then use that as well. So yeah, you need a combination of a workspace to set up. You need internet connection, and you need a computer. Comfortable. You can also use a mouse. For me, this is another great tool that I have. So because for research, it's just wearing these. So for research, it's actually, you need to tap into another world. So you need to go into a space. So for me, sometimes it's music that can take you there. Sometimes it's just quietness. Maybe people that like to work at 2 a.m. when everything's quiet, then you are able to focus and go into this, I wouldn't say imaginary, but it's not imaginary, but philosophical world where you discover things, knowledge, whereby people on the ground will then use that knowledge, but you as a knowledge maker or discoverer, you need to tap into another world. So you like a creator, you need to be on the back end. So yeah, you can't just be normal. That's what I say, like during that time, but you need to tap in and out. You need to come back to reality. So as I've been saying, for me now, I want to get into the zone. I like to, listen to deep music, like deep house. So in South Africa, there's deep house music, like with nice bass. So it depends what you like. Other people like, studying, let's say, like studying music or whatever. So yeah, for me, this is what I will then stick to. Okay, so the next thing is all about where to start. So where to start? So I would say, I'm representing a certain university called Cape Peninsula University of Technology, which is also called CPUT. That's where I've done, my postgraduate masters, and where I'm currently working on my doctorate proposal, and also lecturing there as well to marketing students. And so I'm representing, and I can say now that I'll show you that way. However, your university also has a way, but the only difference is the type of referencing, because remember, we're going to look at referencing today. So for CPUT referencing, there's a referencing guide that the university uses. So if you just search CPUT, okay, we must just spell it. You can just referencing guide. As you come here, you will then see it will say the official Harvard referencing style manual. So That's what is used at CPUT. So it's the same as this one that says here, Harvard for beginners. So it's a PDF document, and I would so if you click on this, you can say open in new. So this is a guide, kind of like showing you if you had to use a certain. So there's two of them. I can also open this one. So that one is dated 2010, and this one seems like it's just been updated, but I guess they both work. So the one thing here also with students, let's say you're told to reference, you have to stick to this guide. You have to. I know we can rush and run to AI to help us, or whatever sources that we're looking at. Sometimes we just copy those references because they look Harvard style, we just paste them in. But no, that's not the way. Even if you go to AI and just type Harvard style reference, it might give you Harvard style of another university. But now you need to go back to what is needed for your own university. So here it will show you. So it says here bibliography, meaning the reference, how the reference should look. And here it says textual reference. So let's say when you are writing within your text, how would you reference? So for example, here it says when textual reference for multiple authors appear entirely in brackets, the ampersand and is used. So here, let's say you are writing a fact or finding by Ellis and Peters. This is how you would then do an in-text reference, which is in the paragraphs. But also when you start a sentence, you can also start a sentence using, Ellis and Peters, 2000, page 14. So the year 2000 and page 14. Then you can say stated A, B, C, D, E. Or here you can see it says Noam Chomsky's 1975, which is a reference. First book introduced the concept of transformational grammar. So there's two ways to do in-text referencing at the end of a sentence, where the author's surnames or surname and the year and the page number is within the brackets. Or you can start within a sentence and say, okay, author. So the difference here, there's the ampersand sign, and here is the and sign. So because it's not in brackets, the full thing, because you're starting a sentence, so you'll just say there's two authors, surname and the other surname, the year, and also the page number over there. So those are the two different ways of in-text referencing. Okay, now let's go to the reference list, which is what we will be looking at today. So how do you know what reference type to do? So I would say with this guide, it makes it so simple, even more simple than AI. You need to remember and say, okay, what source do I have? For example, if my source is a book review or is a book, let's say it's a textbook. So I need to go down under this heading that says book and think, does the book have one author? So if you open the book, you can actually see does it have one author, does the book have two authors, or does the book have multiple, which is 3 or more authors. Then when you can answer that, let's say it has one author, all you need to do is you need to copy this and say, okay, I found a book. Then go to your working space. For example, if this was my working space, I'm just going to paste that in and just give it a shading. This is an example. So let's say now the book is from Atendile Ngubelanga. So, we'll then say, okay, the surname is Belanga, and then the initial is A. When was it published? We'll say 2025, still sticking to what I've been given. And then what's the name? So obviously you need to know what all these mean. So you need to know what they all mean. So here you would need to know that, as you can see over here, this is the title of the book. This is the city where the book was published. And then here is the publisher. So over here you can also see, so I'm just jumping between, this is something similar where it has one. So also in text you can say Modiba, as you can see over here, states, or you can end in this way, as I've mentioned, when you are writing, you're referencing Modiba, let's say you're referencing his findings, when you're going to say Modiba states that Thinking Rich says ABC, because I'm just seeing his title says Think Yourself Rich. I'm just states, or you can put a fact and say Think Yourself Rich does ABCDE, then end the sentence with Modiba within a bracket. Okay, but yeah, you then need to see over here the sequence. It then says it's the author surnames and initials, which is that author surname and initial, then it's a year of publication. That's the year of publication over there. Then next, title of the book. That's the title of the book. As you can see, it says in italics, as you can see. So you also need to make it in italics. Wherever there's italics, that whole piece is the title of the textbook. So you would then see from your own textbook what the title is by reading. So where was it published? Published in Cape Town, or wherever it was published, and then who was the publisher. Basically, this is what that means. So just gonna say vid guide on referencing. I will say I'm in Cape Town, and then who's the publisher? I'll just say publishers. Then I've got my reference for my book, and then I can go to something else. And then, for example, if I had two, I'll then copy this whole thing, take it to my reference list, update it. Then I've got my reference. Then you just need to spend time, and then you need to go through it. Let's say we didn't find a book, but we had a blog. Even if it was from a blog, this is how you would then do it. If it was from an online blog, from computer programs, conference papers. Let's say you found someone with conference papers, so it would be great to download this as well. Just download it and save it wherever for yourself, so that you can see. So mostly what is mostly used is academic journals. So I'm just gonna go down here, encyclopedias, financial data sources, government publications. So every type of source that you've referenced, you can see how to reference it. So it's all there, like no AI, but I mean, working like in big scale, only at the end. Let's say you're looking for a DOI. So this doesn't have a DOI link, but then we can then, after we have our original, reference that we worked on, we can then go to Mr. AI and say, can you find in your database a DOI link for this, which I've created, not the other way around where you ask it to create it, because it will sometimes give you wrong sources. So you need to have it physically find it. And so we'll also talk about how you then find these sources as well, where you need to now reference certain sources. Okay. Let's say we found a journal article. So basically this is how, so if there's one author, that's how you would then reference that journal article. And then, yeah, I think I've touched on how to, do in-text referencing, which is in-text. So as you can see, these are different synonyms that you can use: described, stated, confirms. So those are the all kind of different things, or different ways that you can start your sentences. So yeah, so now what we want to look at, how to find these sources. Let's start. So it depends on what your topic is about. Your university might also have their own database. Also, if you go to, if let's say we go to CPUT, or your own university, you can go to CPUT, the website, where you go to the library, as you can see here, the online library, and then you go to databases. You can just go to so these are just different names of databases. So it will go alphabetical order. So there's, depending if you, but you can like read what they're all about. So mostly if you're in marketing or like business, depends like what as you can see here, for medicine, nutrition, diseases, whatever like research, you can go to EBSCOhost. Then they will require you to then enter your student email, so you have to be registered, student email and password, so your login details. However, great thing is that, let's say you're not a student or you currently working and you haven't really, but you do have to work on research to maybe do a concept paper. My go-to place is a great place called Google Scholar. Google Scholar is the #1 place because it looks at all different databases that also maybe a university has, but even more. And then you can actually find free articles that you need to use. So for example, today, let's say our article, or we needed to look at maybe our topic. Currently we're in, I don't know, like AI, let's say, or let's look at influencers, like the great thing that's going around. Like, let's say, we want to understand what is the impact of influencers on, like business success, or like something like, what is the impact of, or like in marketing, the impact of influencers on digital marketing. So I'm going to go to Digital Scholar and write my title of my let's say it's your academic study, or a title that you've come up with maybe a supervisor, or from doing your mini thesis, wherever you are. And then we'll say the impact of influencers on digital marketing. Okay, great thing. Always look here on the right. So on the screen, wherever it says PDF, it means you can get that article. So that's what you want. You want to download as many articles as you want. So guys, you also need to have a structure. Not every day you're gonna be writing. You need to say, today I'm looking for sources. So that's what you're gonna be dedicating your day to. You'll be finding hundreds of articles. That's what you're going to be doing that day, looking at different keywords, opening up these articles, saying. So another thing, if you haven't figured, but another thing that you need to take note of, don't be tempted to go into articles and simply copy and paste what others have wrote. So for example, if I click on this article here, open here, the role of nano influencers through Instagram as an effective digital marketing strategy, which is great. It's kind of related to what we want. So we're going to open that up. Let's open it up. What people and most students, and that's how you get caught out in terms of referencing plagiarism. As you can see, this person has also they've written their own, abstract, they've written their own introduction using their own words, their own research, which is what you're also doing. So research is finding sources to consider things, setting the scene, then going into field to test. So if you're in medical or science, you might be going into a lab, or if you're in business, you might be doing quantitative research surveys, or qualitative as well. So depending where you are. So if you're in, I don't know, like zoology, you would be going into the wild, where you need to maybe look for a certain animal, but you would also need to write a background and what have other people found, why is this an important area that you need to research. So there's also a structure which we'll touch on coming episodes. So we're going to talk about what structure do you need to have, like for example for your mini thesis or your full thesis, and how you then fill up the structure as well. But I'll then take you through my own, like when I'm doing my proposal, that's where you'll also be saying, this is the structure I'm following, this is what I'm doing. And then you can then also, also follow what I'm doing, or kind of like be guided, because that's all that needs. We are all in this together. So as like post-grad. So, okay, as you can see, this person spoke about digital marketing. People get tempted just to go there and like, oh, they've written so well, and then they just copy what this person has said. But that's where now you're going to get caught. So you can look at their structure. You can look at, okay, this is what the topic was about in terms of the flow of their literature review, and how they've written their sentences. By the way, here, these numbers are their references. So what you can do best is to go to the original sources that they've used, which is what I'm going to show. This is an original source that I'm using today that could have been cited by someone. But now I'm going to the original source, which is the study. But what I want from each article is a summary of what is the article about. So mostly in the abstract, when you read the abstract, it will tell you what the article is about, what was the aim of the study, the methodology used, like was it quantitative or qualitative, in what country was it done, as well as you want to see how many, if it's questionnaires, how many questionnaires were they collected, as well as I've said objectives must then be answered, which means the results. And then you also want the results. The results are what becomes the facts that you then write in your own literature. So for example here, if we can like just scroll over here, it says here, just talking about nowadays social media influencers in market research, so setting the scene. So it just says here the research method used is literature review. So they use the literature review methodology. The results of the study, so this is what you want, shows that nano-influencers have a positive impact on digital marketing strategies using Instagram on social media. That's the fact. So in your own study, for example, this person here, they said marketing is the process of creating marketing is the process of creating or exchanging products and values by a person or group in order to obtain a desire. Marketing strategy is manifestation of marketing logic. And then they have a reference. So in your paper, you also want to do the same, but it needs to follow your narrative. Why are you going to talk? So what they found that, so if you go back, they found that nano-influencers have a positive impact on digital marketing. Maybe under digital marketing, maybe the impact of influencers, you'll say nano-influencers have a positive impact on digital marketing strategies by using Instagram. And then you will then cite this whole article. You will reference this article. How do you reference this article? We go to our referencing guide. Let's look at this article. It has 1, 2, 3 authors. So we need to go to our referencing guide. So this journal article here, single author, 2 authors, multiple authors. That's where we want to be. So to reference this, we can do this and go to our paper that we're working on. So for example, so remember, this is the example that you need to feed in your thing. But I'm just taking the structure. So my article, I'm going to go, it's the surname, that's the surname. I'm going to paste it over there. The initial is RC, the first person. So I'm going to go RC. The second, so you're going to do it for all of them. Then also for the title. And then you want to fill up this whole thing until you have your new reference. So that's how you then fill up so it's time, guys, that you need to dedicate. So on this day, you could be collecting the articles, summarizing them, then doing your references in a reference list. You might end up with, maybe in a 2-hour session, you might end up with 30 or 40 or 50, depending how efficient you want to be, references that you're going to use. So yeah, that's using references. Okay, or finding your sources. So I've touched on it, but you can do this for every fact that you want to prove. For you can go wide, you can look at AI, you can remember Google Scholar, keywords, what you want to research, search, open the article, download it, go onto the abstract or the findings section, look at the methodology, what was this article all about, then summarize their findings. Then you need to do that on a separate Word document where, for example, you're opening up a separate Word document where you're just going to be scribbling, where you're going to say, okay, you don't want to do this word for word, but you, like for starters, you could say, you can just like copy it in. And then in the meantime, over here, you can even start doing your reference list there. So for example, you wanted to do a reference list for every fact. So now you're building the structure. So you give it a color coding that, okay, I haven't worked on this, and then you start doing your reference list. You start filling up your reference, blah 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 blah, and then you go to the next article. You find the next article. Maybe here you can have maybe your headings, the impact of influencers on social media, maybe marketing. Maybe this is your heading. You don't need to. And then what you're going to do here, you want to create this huge unstructured thing where you're just like collecting all these findings. So it's like you're collecting findings. Then from these findings, you then go back another day where you are writing and saying, okay, this is a narrative that I want to point out. This is how they flow. So they'll all be from different years. They'll all be, maybe others are focusing on Facebook, others are focusing on YouTube. But you can then go back to your summaries and say, okay, I've seen a couple of studies talking on YouTube. I've seen a couple of studies talking about Europe, Africa. Then from there, you can start forming these themes in your writing and say, studies in Africa looking at influencers said this, or studies that did qualitative or quantitative. So basically, that's where now the creativity comes, which is the end result of your writing. So hopefully this is, kind of painting out a certain picture or guidance for you to kind of use the system that I also use. Okay, so now just to end it off, I want us to look at how to get the DOI link. So I'm just going to do it for one. So for example, here I'm going to be using one popular AI, not to write, because I've already written this and I've already put it through, as I've already said, through AI checkers, like multiple. So what we are actually going to be doing, we are going to be using a popular one that everyone likes called ChatGPT. But on ChatGPT, what I want to do is I just want to just say, okay, let's just write here and say, please help me to find DOI link for the following article, which is what I've done, but I'm just asking it to please look for the DOI, because from the article maybe there wasn't a DOI link. It will then try and find the DOI link. So what's great here, you can also paste. You can actually paste like a list. So after you've prompted once, you can then say, okay, now this is a list of what I've already done. So if we click on this just to check if it's correct, all of this to check. So this will then give you the original source that you are looking for and the DOI link. So the name of the article says online marketing trends and purchasing intent. So here it says online marketing trends and purchasing intent. The author is Karim, Islam, and Ibrahim. So just to make sure, if we go down looking for the authors, can't seem to find the authors. Oh, there we go. There's already also a reference and the DOI link. I guess that's where, so it's great. AI is great for kind of like the new generational web search, which like searches wide in the web, but I didn't ask it to write. It just found this from that source, because it's even saying this is where it found it. Like it's a source. So that's all. I want to like use it as a research assistant to kind of like help me out. So I'm going to paste that, and I can then go and paste my DOI link, and then I can maybe go and say, okay, I want now these 3 or these 4, just to fill up. Need to be polite, please also do 4 these. Then I'm going to paste my list, which I have done, by the way. Okay, and you need to check. You can't just trust. You need to check what your titles were and what this thing, using a technology acceptance model, Kelly. Okay, let's just see. So this first one, oh, Kelly, using a, okay, it seems like it's the correct one in Ghana, so that DOI is correct. So I'm going to copy this. So I say copy link address, go back. That is correct. Then the next one, and then colored. Here, evaluating customer perspectives on omnichannel shopping satisfaction. Evaluating, yes. Authors, just to make sure, and the year. So when you go here, when you can't see, you can always like scroll down and like find additional information. Oh, colored is the colored B, which is 2024, which is what we have, yes, shared with Mr. AI. Cool. So you can just repeat that, and yeah. So I guess today it was quite fruitful, where we spoke about the setup that you need to get you started with your academic research journey, where to start, academic referencing, very important. You need to have, access to Word document, Microsoft typing, computer, internet access, workspace that's comfortable for you. And then the number one thing, where do you find sources? We spoke about that. Google Scholar, great for people that, let's say you are not maybe at a certain university, but you need to find sources, or if you're within a university, you can also use keyword searches. So keyword searches is number one that you need to do. And then you can also use Mr. AI, not to write for you, but to be a research assistant. So you might need to look for premium AI kind of subscriptions to get the best out of it, but it depends on what you would want to use. So yeah, great. Thank you for joining us today, and hopefully you'll stick around, and we'll be documenting the journey. But I won't be talking like this in all the sessions, but sometimes it will just be, me discovering a new tool, or how to best do something, literature review, mind mapping, or just the journey, documenting time series as we go forward. So yeah, thanks. Hopefully you stick around and we can be in this journey together, and you can always comment and share your own experiences, and hopefully the space within the comments, we can then share tips on how to do certain things. People can share their own links. This is what I use to check AI, this is what I use to reference. I know there's also reference buttons on Word where you can use, but remember, also depends on what university or the criteria for what you are doing, what reference they need from you. So yeah, stay safe and happy researching and reaching, the other world that we have to reach. Cheers.